Who doesn't love a good crime show? I'm a big fan of those, and I would love to score one myself. Today I have written a little demo, and I decided to only use one sample library. So this is how to score crime using only Albion One by Spitfire Audio. Hello, my name is Adam Hessebom. I am a composer and a musician. I am based in Malmö, Sweden. And on this channel I talk about my music, my life in music, and music business. And if that sounds interesting to you, then consider subscribing, because I upload every week. Today we are talking about music for crime, and we are talking about Albion One. A while back I made a video about textual sample libraries, and I offered to make a video about why I love Albion One so much, and this is that video. So what is important about crime? Crime is usually playing on the balance between justice and injustice. There are oftentimes elements of hunt. There could be elements of heist, even if heist is kind of its own genre. In modern crime, we are often following the criminal, and I think this demo is kind of inspired by Breaking Bad, one of my favorite shows. We get into the mind of the criminal. We see their motivations, what they try to achieve. Crime can also rely on shock, to be shocked by heinous crimes. There can also be a mystery. It can be a whodunit type of story. And to make a good crime score, I think it's important to be really aware of where the tension is, where the shock is, where the suspense is, and also where the drama is, because a crime without drama tends to be more like horror than crime. So oftentimes there's also drama. There can be drama between victims and offender, between the criminal and the police, or between the police themselves. So I have a little demo here, and it's kind of inspired by the Breaking Bad music. And I have chosen only to use Albion One to show a little bit of what Albion One is capable of. Albion One is marketed as a complete toolbox for, epic blockbuster scoring. And of course it's excellent for that, but it can do so much more. And I think this kind of crime music, it's not its main purpose, it's not its main intended use, but you can surely use these sounds for this kind of music too. So let's listen. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through the music here. I have divided the tracks and color-coded them. So blue is like the orchestra stuff. Green is loops. Red here is the steam band, which is sort of like the synthesized textural stuff in the library. We have one track of percussion marked here in purple. This is just a placeholder. So let's have a look at the toolbox. Now, I think the main reason why people might buy Albion One is for like the orchestral sounds. And there surely is a lot of good orchestral sounds in this library. From the strings, very nice big string section, a couple of different articulations like pizzicato, collegno, and of course longs. With consorde, and if you don't know, consorde is when the string players put the physical sordino on the strings, a little thingy. There's tremolo, and these quite useful octaves. There is a brass section, and they are divided into high, and low. And mid, which is horns. And all of these, of course, sound great. They are recorded at Air Studios in London with like top players, and they really lend themselves to like these epic type scores. Where the brass is, really hitting it off, and you have the string ostinatos, very good for that. Let's listen to some woodwinds too. Big, beautiful sounds. And how did I use them here? Well, I barely use them actually, because I don't think this is one of those types of music. I used some of the longs in the strings, the consorde and tremolos here. And this middle part here is kind of where you catch your breath and the tension goes down a little bit. And then we have like the release in the end where the danger is over. I also used some short articulations both in strings and brass, and then I bounced them in place and I reversed them. So, for example, we have here the brass. Little bit of tape delay on that one. And bouncing out a piece of audio and reversing it is very good for creating these sort of transitions. And as you heard, we have these different sections, and it's a good way to use these because if we have like this one, where there's, you know, certain amount of drive, and then you go into this catch your breath kind of thing, it can be a little bit like disjointed if you don't have anything to glue them together, and I like these kinds of transitions. It's better lead over to the new section. And coming out of that section, we have strings also in reverse. Like that. So that's how I use the orchestra for this little demo. Then we have some loops, and they provide like the main drive. We have this one. And the loops, they are mapped out on the keyboard with different rhythmizations and tunings. And they come with and they come in some different kinds. There are both like synth loops, more percussion stuff, warped ones, and more like tickers, which I am a particular fan of, like this one here. And they run in the EDNA engine. And the way this is set up is you have two sound sources. In this case, you can see that it's the same sound source at different dynamics. And then you can mix between them, either automated to MIDI, so that you control them yourself, or you can oscillate so that it goes automatically. Or just leave it be and have it set in the middle. This engine has, the two sound sources are treated like individually, and they call it a wobble, so that you can have modulation. It's basically an LFO. So it modulates volume, pitch, and filter independently. There's filter control, and tuning and panning, sample offset, envelopes, both running completely independent of each other. And then you have the mixer and a gate sequencer, which is also very useful. If you want a little bit of different rhythmizations, you can use the gate sequencer to sort of hide the notes. And then there's, of course, a lot of effects. I think this interface, it's starting to feel a little bit dated because it is kind of old. But if you learn it, it's very deep and it's full of good possibilities. I have also used this loop here. Yes. Then we have some, synth stuff, and these are also presented in the EDNA engine. You choose from the different sound sources, of which there are a lot, right here. And if it seems a bit intimidating, use the presets, tweak them a little bit, or don't. It's your music. I think those kinds of sounds are very useful, kind of underrated. sometimes you're drawn to the like very over-the-top sounds, but I think it's good to have a lot of these kind of sounds. It's almost not a note, it's almost only atmosphere. I think those are great. In the middle here, we have a plucked. So there's also some plucked ones. And here is a pad. And on that one, as you can see, I kind of only needed this part of the frequency register. So just listen without EQ. And with. Here we have some gated pad. And here the sounds are the actual like orchestral sounds. So depending on what folder you're in, you can use the orchestral sounds, but synthesize them. Very useful. And here you can hear how the gate sequencer works. And then we have this patch. And listen to this one without the EQ. Yes, you can see I filtered out almost all of it. I mean, very useful for creating a pulse. Then we have some percussion here. And if you listen to just this one percussion hit, it's a very soft, low hit. But listen in context as we move over here. That's a good way to use a hit like that, I think. And then there's some rhythm over here. There's actually a bunch of percussion in this library. This is the Darwin Percussion Ensemble. And they have mapped the instruments, so we have low hits. Really doom. And metal. And there are other percussion ensembles like this one. If you have a good enough sound system, you could really annoy your neighbors. There are uses for those kind of hits. So there you go. Here are some ways you can use Albion One. It has all of these great sounds. The EDNA engine is, once you get familiar with it, it's very powerful. So many sound sources are included that you can build patches from. So that's why I like this library. And you know, it's an old library. I think it's been around for. I remember it celebrated like 10 years. Like a couple of years ago. It's been around forever. They keep updating it. This video, of course, is not sponsored by Spitfire. I bought this library with my own money very many years ago. and I have been happy with it ever since. And ever so often, I discover some new things that this library can do. And sometimes on Black Friday or other sales, I watch some tutorials on Albion One, and I realize, oh, it can do that. So if you have this library, then maybe you learned something new today. And if you don't have this library, I mean, it is a very good library. It's worth getting. The sale is over now, I think, but there are new sales coming ever so often. If you thought this was interesting, then please like this video so more people can find it. Subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers!